Hi guys, it's Reagan and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. This reading vlog is extra special because it's a challenge-based reading vlog. That's right, I'm going to be trying to read as much as I can for the next 24-hour period. I feel like I had a really strong start to my reading year in January, fell off a bit in February, and I'm doing quite a bit of travel in April, so I just kind of want to stay on top of things. So I thought a cozy but very reading-oriented 24 hours was very much due. And of course, nothing pairs better with a 24-hour readathon because one, you're trying to stay up as late as possible, than snacks. So I'm happy to report this video is also sponsored by Thrive Market. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the books I hope to read over the course of the next 24 hours. So I have 3 books I'm hoping to finish. The first is The Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan. This is the sequel to The Justice of Kings, which I read last year and absolutely adored. This is full of politics and conspiracy. It has to do with like an investigative crew set in a fantasy world. I'm actually 200 pages into this book. It's about 550 pages, so I hope to read the last 350 pages for this vlog. I also want to read The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshni Chokshi. This is Roshni's adult debut. It's supposed to be lyrical and magical and full of fairy tale and mythology. All of my favorite things in the world. It's also not too long, and I just feel like the stylization of it will also make it a fast read. And then the last book that is on my TBR is the first book to the Murderbot series. This is a very beloved series full of novellas, so I also feel like perfect for a 24-hour readathon, as this book, the first one, All Systems Red, is only about 160 pages, so I should be able to fly through it. This is set in kind of a dystopian-esque, futuristic, corporate controlled sci-fi world where basically the lowest bidder wins the missions that they have to get approved by the corporation, and they also sent out android or bots to basically oversee and protect them. Main character though is one of these bots, but again, I've heard really good things. I think there's 7 books in total, so I'm just very curious to get started. So those are the 3 books I hope to read. I'm actually just gonna get started now. I'm gonna continue with The Tyranny of Faith, which I will talk more once I get settled because I'm loving this sequel. Dare I say it's even better than the first book, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars to. I just love the intricacies of this world, the character interactions, the magic, the mystery. It's truly just got it all. You know, you love to see it. Hello. Because I'm about to sit down and do some reading, I thought it would make sense to give you my initial thoughts and feelings about The Tyranny of Faith so far. More information about the book, because as I said, I've already read 200 pages of this story. So Tyranny of Faith is book 2. The first book is The Justice of Kings. In this book, we basically are introduced to this empire, and in this empire, there are individuals called justices, and justices act as the emperor's like extension of law. Not only are they versed really well in law and like representation, all of these things, but they also have magic, so they're really powerful, and they also can act as the judge and executioner of this law. So they basically travel the land, try to keep things in line, look into corruption, all of this sort of stuff. We're introduced to one of the most powerful justices named Sir Conrad van Volt in the beginning of book 1. And he's basically gotten wind of some type of aristocratic situation going on in a town, and we follow him and the people that kind of work with him as they're traveling there. But this book is not actually written from the point of view of Sir Conrad van Volt, but instead his female apprentice, who I'm just obsessed with. The book is also written like with reflection, so we follow this young apprentice, but she's writing from the future after all of these events have transpired. So she's writing with like knowledge of the future, her feelings upon reflection, but also still obviously acting true to how she was feeling in the moment. I truly loved the first book so much. Not only did I just love reading from our character Helena's point of view, she's so smart and cunning, and she is kind of learning about the law and everything, so there's all these really interesting conversations about how the political system works. But the series is all about conspiracy and crime, so it kind of starts off as like a standard investigation in this town, but you really begin to see how things are escalating and kind of tied into possibly like a larger undercutting of the empire's power itself. And it has to do with like religion and kind of rallying people around religion and like trying to basically undercut the laws of the land. And again, because this book is written from a retroflective point of view, we're constantly reminded that like, oh, and at the time we felt this way, but we know more is to come. So it just creates this like dramatic tension while reading the book. Book 1 was great. I would kind of describe like book 1 is like a pot has been put on the stove and we're kind of vibing, and at the very end we realize the water's starting to get warm. Well, going into book 2, things are starting to boil. So book 1 has definitely like a small town-ish setting. We follow again Helena, Sir Conrad von Volt, and then 2 other characters, a detective and a soldier, who like work, and they all work very closely together, and they all have really interesting bonds, and the characters in this book are just some of my favorite. Well, in book 2, we're back in kind of the seat in the heart of the Empire, where the conspiracy that was kind of introduced to us in book 1 is starting to accelerate into book 2, but there's just so many different types of politics getting in the way, and it's like, it's all such a mess, and it's like capturing the drama of a large political apparatus where people all have their own vested interests, and they might not be really being honest with themselves when they hear about a possible issue. Like, obviously we know what's happening is going to be really bad because we've been told by a future narrator, but the people in the present don't know how bad it's going to be. So they're all reacting and acting within their own self-interest, and it just like creates this tension while you're reading it. This new setting is so effective. There's a lot of traveling in book 1, and I'm sure we'll get more traveling in book 2. But being situated in this city and kind of learning more about the government, the system, structure of the justices, the emperor, like all of this stuff has been so cool. And betwixt this like much larger mystery, there are some smaller mysteries at play as well. And it's just so interesting. I just love the characters. I love the pacing of this. It's so intense. And there's some development of the characters kind of introduced in this new book. Like, I'm not really sure where it's going. I'm not uninterested, and I'm very curious. Me playing with my hair roller. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very good. So again, I've read 200 pages so far. That's kind of what I've been introduced to. There's lots of questions of like morality, and because we're talking a lot about the law and the interpretation of the law, there's lots of moments where we, the reader, have to question the intention behind the application of this law too. It's all just working out so well. So anyway, 200 pages. I have 300 pages left. I'm gonna get reading. Things are only getting better. I read the first 200 pages of this book so fast, absolutely flying through it, liking it more than the first one. Such an incredible fantasy series. It's time to make lunch. And the good news is I did most of the work yesterday. So I made this really tasty, if I do say so myself, pesto pasta salad, divine. And I just mix it up with some like arugula and lemon and olive oil, and it's like a pasta salad. Arugula. Pasta, salad, complete. Lunch is consumed. I also read about 100 pages before lunch. I've made a post-lunch tea to keep me from getting too sleepy. And now I'm gonna sit down and read more. Luckily, this book is amazing. I feel like starting off a 24-hour readathon with something that's like so good is key. It sucks you in, keeps you entertained, so Tyranny of Faith is delivering. Guys, it's time for the best kind of unboxing because this box is full of snacks. Before we dive into the snacks themselves, that is definitely going to fuel all of my reading for the rest of this video. First, a little bit more about Thrive Market, who once again is the sponsor of this video. If you're not familiar, Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store on a mission to make organic and sustainable options more affordable for everyone. If there's one secret about me, it's that I quite literally honestly do not like grocery shopping. I always do grocery pickup or shop online when and where I can, and Thrive Market is absolutely perfect. Not only are they just the best prices for some of my favorite brands, and if they're not, they will 100% price match. They also constantly are bringing in new products, new items, having sales, incredible deals, and it all gets delivered directly to your door, which we absolutely love. It's the type of convenience I need in my life. Not to mention, because they're constantly adding new products, I'm always finding new and tasty things to try out, and I honestly believe variety is the spice of life, especially when it comes to food. I, of course, have a special offer. If you click the link down below, you'll be able to join Thrive Market for 30% off and get a free gift up to $60 in value. But without further ado, let's unbox these snacks because I'm hungry and I want to eat them. Wow. Wow. Okay, so the first collection of things I bought is because I love this brand and it's so hard to find. And when I do find it in Austin, it's so expensive. So I stocked up on my Lesser Evil popcorn. This stuff is so good. I got 3 different flavors. I got my favorite, which is Oh My Ghee. So good. And then I got Himalayan Gold, which I'm excited to try. I never tried this. And then also Himalayan Pink Salt, also delicious. I love popcorn more than most things in this world. And now I'm completely stocked up. I also saw this, which I've literally never seen anywhere. I love Kettle Brand jalapeno chips, but they have air fried versions, which I'm an air fryer stan, so I'm curious to see how these are gonna taste. Can't wait to try. I, of course, had to get some sweet things. So first we have some Annie's fruit flavor gummy snacks. I love a gummy snack. And I feel like as a late night treat, they're perfect. And I also got some Tate's Bake Shop cookies. These are incredible. Put these in your coffee, dip these in a glass of milk. You gotta try. And then the last collection of things are all beverages, which just felt very fitting. So first I got the Thrive Market organic coffee, which, you know, I obviously love coffee. This is their breakfast blend, a medium roast with dark chocolate toffee, caramel, and vanilla tasting notes. This sounds great. And for late night beverage consumption, I got 2 non-caffeinated teas, which I love tea, and I especially love calming tea. So I got the Thrive Market Organic Calming, which is a blend of chamomile, lemon balm, and peppermint to promote relaxation. Sounds divine. And then also a soothing caramel bedtime tea. Which caramel bedtime tea? Tell me more. Everything I got from Thrive Market, delectable, delicious. I'm gonna be eating all of this throughout the course of this entire video. Again, if you wanna learn more about Thrive Market and also use that offer, I'll have it linked down below. But without further ado, I'm gonna go eat some of this popcorn and read more of my book. So, see ya. All right, I am really about to go read, but I decided to open these up because I was really curious about the air fried element. They're really good, crispy, jalapeno-y. Oh, fam. But obviously, I'm taking the whole bag with me. And I'm gonna read more of my book. Guys, I've read so much of this book and I have not checked in nearly enough. It is so good. I don't really even know where to begin. So, I mean, right off the gate, as I kind of mentioned, this book is like a million miles per hour. We have so many different things going on and all of them are interesting. And what's also really fascinating is there appears to be these like disparate threads and issues, and you can't help but to not think that they possibly could be connected. I also feel like the characterization of this book is just spectacular. Sir Conrad Van Volt particularly, I feel like was a character, especially in the first one, because we're reading the story through Helena's eyes, that was very much put on a pedestal. This untarnishable man of the law, black, everything is black and white, good and bad. He is like justice incarnate, perfect in a way. And throughout this book, we kind of see Helena's view of Van Volt first kind of transforming into like a man, as like a fallible person, but then 2, beginning to question even his morals in some regards. And just like the dynamic range of characterization we're getting of Van Volt, of Helena, of other characters in this book, I think it's just really good. I feel like second books in fantasy series can struggle because maybe not a lot actually happens in them, and a lot of what happens is about more setting the board for the third book, like great opening, kind of a lull, and then like great end. I am obsessed with the second book. I feel like it's just brought everything up a notch. We've learned more about the world, the political system, the empire. He's like pulling on like history and then kind of twisting it all around and adding a fantastical twist. The magic is interesting. There's just this level of urgency and pacing that persists through the entire thing. And like we're trying to solve mysteries that feel impossible, but also you see kind of the slow and then all at once fast build of like a powerful figure bringing power to himself, and it feels just completely unstoppable. Anyway, this is how much of this book I have left. I just read chapter 30 in this book and it was bananas. was bananas. I really don't know where it's going. There's just like, I'm feeling so many things. Ugh, these characters are like destroying me and I'm obsessed with it, you know? Also, I just gotta say it. Helena, the narrator, fantastic. And Sir Conrad von Volt is hot. But flawed. And sometimes there's kind of some interesting stuff going on. And this book, the series is written by a man. And sometimes I'm like, that's some good tension. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I feel. So I'm kind of going back and forth on that, but like it's addicting and unexpected. Let's just go with that. Good news, Matilda. I finished my first book of the 24-hour readathon vlog. 350 pages read. This was excellent. Kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Let me flip you around. But there's something about religious extremism used in political power grabs that is just like fascinating to me. Like fanaticism and like how it can just different manipulation tactics and stuff. It's just, anyway, it was really well done. And I really like the second book. Absolutely cannot wait for the third installment. I am riveted, if you will. That being said, I am going to start my second book of this 24-hour readathon vlog, All Systems Red by Martha Wells, which I'm looking forward to, obviously. I actually have to take a bit of a break with reading soon. I have about 45 minutes to read as much as I can of this book, but then I have my first like IRL friend book club meeting, which is so fun. So I'm going to just somewhere locally. We're all going to vibe for a few hours. So that will cut into my reading time, but socialization about books counts for something, you know? So we haven't read a book yet. This is our first meeting to just like hang out, and then we'll pick a book and then we'll read it soon. But nevertheless, I'm going to stop talking. I'm actually gonna go get a snack. Then I'm gonna come back here and read All Systems Red. Then I'll do an OOTD. Then we're gonna head out, you know? My snack of choice, which Clay and I have just been devouring all day. Like, look, we ate so many of these already. These bunny fruit flavored snacks, Summer Strawberry by Annie's from Thrive Market. So good. Fantastic news, I already love the voice of Murderbot, our main character in All Systems Red. I'll talk a bit more about it once I get home, but I wanted to show you guys my OOTD. Actually, I feel like I just want to emphasize, Tyranny of Faith was so good. Like, I read if I would have let myself, I could have read that entire book in a day. I mean, I read 350 pages, like I was sucked in. The plotting, the characters, the escalation of the plot, so good. Definitely one of the best books I've read so far this year. And I'm excited because I really feel like I'm gonna love Murderbot too. So anyway, OOTD. Got this little vest, this quilted vest from, you guessed it, Madewell. And I'm just wearing one of my favorite pairs of Madewell jeans. I'm gonna wear my Birkenstocks and we'll be all set to go. Springtime, it's like, don't let it fool you. It looks gloomy out there, but it is 80 degrees. So we're already in short sleeves. And soon I'll only be wearing long dresses because it's gonna be so sweaty.
Yeah, my realtor was like, either. I'm not gonna be there, but I'm so hot.
I am back home and I'm immediately brewing myself a cup of tea. We're going to try out my calming organic tea, which I'm very excited about, and we're gonna get to read it. And I'm also gonna talk to you a bit more about my next book as well. But book club was such a success. You guys already know, faux fireplace is starting. Matilda is also nice and cozied up in bed. And I'm in my pajamas because we are about to get very serious again about reading and read more All Systems Red. Club was so much fun. It was like our first official meeting. So, you know, new year, new me kind of thing. Being social. But now that I'm back, my plan is to actually try to finish All Systems Red tonight before going to bed. It's not very long. I think it's about 180 pages. So I think in the scheme of things, that's very achievable. The book itself is the first of a series. I think there's 6 or 7 out. There's another one people are waiting for. So while each one is short, collectively there's been quite a few pages that Martha Wells has written. And it's set in like a futuristic sci-fi corporatized world. Basically there is just this one corporation that controls everything, and they kind of approve, disapprove, everything goes through them. And basically people can bid for jobs, but the lowest bidder wins. So I think you don't want the job because they're very, very dangerous. And then all of these jobs are also supervised by the corporation. They sent out AI protection robots, but that's where our main character is introduced, because this story is from the perspective of Murderbot, who is a government corporate AI robot, but they have been hacked and they now have this persona themselves of Murderbot living inside. Just trying to like not get caught, basically. And I think a lot of this has to do with like consciousness, humanity, and I think you like love Murderbot. I'm not sure. I'm reading the first one, but I've also heard that the audiobooks are incredible, so I'm sure I'll be listening to future installments. He has a very clear voice, and even in the first chapter, it's like funny, even though it's very intense and dark what is going on too. So I really appreciate the style of what this book is being written as so far, so I'm excited to discover like what the meat and potatoes of this book is going to be. But so far, Murderbot is the main character. Excellent, rooting the story so very well. So I'm gonna get started now. Again, I'm gonna try to finish it tonight, go to bed, wake up, and then try to read the entirety of my third book. So wish me luck. I'm getting sleepy, but we're persevering. I've read 40% of All Systems Read. It reads so fast for so many different reasons. The setting, first off, is just fascinating. You're kind of just thrown into the book, and you're introduced, obviously, to our narrator, who is Murderbot, and they're hilarious. First off, they're like pessimistic and introverted, and it's so funny that like they're forming this personality, and then they're just like me. You know what I mean? Like they're trying their hardest to like not tip off the other passengers, but they're like so far from being this like lethal, wanting to like one, even like make friends, or two, like I don't know, destroy humankind. They're just vibing and watching lots of television shows and other types of entertainment media, which is also informing their perception of like how to even interact with humans at all. It's just really, really funny. And then all of this too is intermixed with an interesting like setting, this planetary setting. You know, they're doing a survey, they're exploring this place, and there's a conspiracy about it because information was withheld about some of the dangers of this location. And so why was it withheld? So they're kind of like investigating evolving issue that's like rising to the top. So you have Murderbot, who's funny, also very capable, you know, still doing their job. And this like dark sci-fi plotline. It's a good combo. It's very effective. I mean, this book has literally won the Hugo and the Nebula Award, so I knew to expect good things. So I'm just excited that I'm enjoying it. And I just really enjoy the narration and the stylization of it. I think it's just like very, very effective, you know? Hello everyone, I'm up, I'm Adam. I'm almost done with Murderbot, so I owe you, ooh, spilling coffee all over the place. I owe you an update in regards to that, but first I'm gonna have this cup of coffee and get some work in. I have to actually start working at like 7 a.m. Hi, let's do a reading update from what I was able to read last night. Cheers, here's my coffee. So I read 70% of All Systems Read, and I'm going to quickly sit down and finish it now and then jump into my third and final book, but I'm liking it. I think it is a novella, so there's only like so much that's going to be able to be put into it, and I feel like in a way the author kind of just like dumps you into it to avoid having to do like a lot of initial setup. That being said, I feel like a lot of world building and character growth is accomplished just throughout trying to piece together what is going on. Murderbot is definitely the star of the show. They're introverted and shy, and they're unsure about how to interact with humans. They just want to watch their soap operas, but they also care. They go out of their way to try to protect their humans and be understood. And it's just like really sweet and emotional because of that. Like their character in the center of this book is just great. And then alongside of that, there is like this sci-fi-esque mystery. We're on this planet. There's something ominous that is happening, and it's very, very dangerous, and we don't know why. We don't know who, but we're following Murderbot and this crew like trying to stay alive, basically. And I think the setting is a good one too. This sort of capitalist, corporate focused world or universe is obviously like a good dystopian, futuristic setting to be placed in. And I just think I mean, I just like these concepts. Like I like a lot of the things that the author's exploring, you know, concepts of humanity and existence and what does it mean to be alive. And I think Murderbot particularly is a sassy narrator that is just like really delightful to read from. And I can see why the audiobooks are so great. I also think though, there's only going to be so much within one novella, but I think like the taste of what I've gotten so far, of the writing, of the world, of the characters, I'm interested to read more. And I'm curious to finally engage with a full-length novel, but I know I have other novellas first. Yeah, I mean, I just think learning about the sci-fi world is good. I think the mystery is intriguing. I just don't know how much is going to be able to be like fully developed in this short time period, but like what I've read, I really like. And I feel like I'm more viewing this novella as an introduction to Murderbot more so than anything else. You know what I mean? But as I said, I've read 70%, so I'm going to quickly just breeze through the last 30. And then third book, get dressed, read third book, and then get on with the rest of my day. 10 out of 10 breakfast. I just love a blueberry Eggo waffle. So good. I finished this book. It was really interesting. Honestly, I'm really excited to see how this is all going to continue to develop. I really cannot emphasize enough how interesting a character Murderbot is. And I think the planetary setting and the mystery was really compelling. This book was 180 pages long, so it's hard to say much because it is so short. But it was good, for sure, 100%. So, second book, down. Whoa, almost dropped ya. In other news, I have gotten fully dressed. Look at that, fully dressed. Look at Matilda, she's so cute. And I'm about to start my third book. It's only 9 a.m. I have about 4-ish hours left of my readathon, so I definitely feel like I can possibly complete this book. I don't even, yeah, it's only 250 pages, so I feel like I should be able to fly through this. Before I dive in, let's talk more about what this book is actually about. So the synopsis goes of this story is, once upon a time, a man who believes in fairy tales married a very beautiful and mysterious woman named Indigo. This man is like a professor of mythology and stories, and this woman agrees to marry him. They fall in love and all that, but she agrees to marry him as long as he never looks into her past and doesn't really ask about her family. He readily agrees. They get married. They live in wedding bliss until one day she receives a letter from her estranged aunt requiring her to go back to her family home. Her husband travels with her and a bunch of mysteries begin to unfold from there. And I can't wait. I feel like this is going to be lush, full of beautiful writing, and just really dreamlike. And personally speaking, I just love stories like that. So I'm hoping that this is a home run. So we're gonna get started with it now. Quick Matilda appreciation zoom in. Look at this little gremlin. Hi, so I have read a quick 70 pages of The Flower Bride, the last tale of The Flower Bride, and this book is really interesting. I mean, going in, I wanted something lyrical and strange, and it's definitely delivering in that capacity. Leaning into myth and like the strange nature of these myths, and there's just the book opens in what feels like a whirlwind of like romance, but obsession. It's dark. It's just a lot of things, you know? So first and foremost, we're introduced to our main character, who is like kind of a scholar of tales, fairy tales, mythology, these tales. And he basically has tracked down and done a lot of research, and he finds that this heir of this large fortune has a book he's looking for. So he tries to set up a meeting with them. Fast forward, they're meeting in this like glamorous Parisian restaurant, and it kind of has this element of like, people are so rich, it's almost like they are like gods themselves in some regard, in the way that they play and toy with regular humans and how they kind of go about their lives. But anyway, eat in this restaurant, and she's beautiful and mysterious, and basically she's like, she's almost like a siren. It's like a seduction. They make a deal like, if I'll let you marry me, but you can never look into my past, you can never pry. It has the same ring to it. And the author and the main character itself, it kind of references how it feels very much like one of those bargains between these like supernatural creatures and humans. Marry me, but like when you go down this path, like you can never turn your back, for example, or like something is going to happen, or you can marry me, but you can never look at me while I bathe. And because if they do, like they'll find the true nature of whoever it is that they are with. And Indigo, who is the woman in this book, very much, it's like she's brutal, mysterious, and beautiful, otherworldly, and she's supposed to. Like, she feels so far from human. But the whole book so far is like very, very fascinating. It's very fast moving. You're propelling yourself through this book, and there's just a lot of atmosphere. And I really honestly appreciate like the direct references to these sort of mythos-like stories and how this is kind of a modern or new story to kind of add into the mix. It's strange, enchanting, like all the adjectives, you know? So again, I've read 70 pages. I'm going to keep going. I have no idea at all where this book could possibly go, but the vibes are there. The vibes are strong, for sure. All right, officially 100 pages into this book. And here's the deal. The characters are pretty screwed up. And as I kind of already described, I kind of like it. But I'm also trying to remain objective. Like, part of me is like, support women's wrongs. Indigo is a bananas character. At the same time, I'm like, well, she did say, don't ask about her past, and look at you breaking the rules, so what do you expect? She's like, I'm scared of you, I need to make you scared of me. So then she does terrifying things to him, and I'm like, fair is fair. No, but the writing is really stunning. The atmosphere is so bizarre. Like, I was expecting it to be set in the past, just given the nature of the story, but the fact that it's in the present I also think is pretty cool, because it feels quite literally like a modern mythos, modern fairy tale, even with like modern settings, you know what I mean? The author was really able to create like this vibe that feels timeless in our time period, which I feel like is kind of a feat. So anyway, 100 pages down, I have 150 pages of this book left. Couldn't say where it's going. Couldn't say. Couldn't even begin to guess. But I don't know. That's how I'm vibing right now. 2 hours left of my readathon, so we're gonna get down to it. Hi, so I have a reading update for The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. This book is really good. Okay, so outside of the writing, I feel like I've spoken most about like the vibe, but now I've definitely started getting into like the meat and potatoes of the story. So there is like magic in this, strangeness, and the book opens, we're reading from the bridegroom's point of view. We don't know his name. We just know he marries Indigo. And then, as I said, she gets this letter. They go back to her family home, which is called the House of Dreams, which is a strange place. And when he arrives, the house is kind of alive, and it also begins to make him like wonder about Indigo's past, not only because he meets like people from Indigo's past, but the house itself is kind of like leading him on a journey, if you will. And then we begin to get chapters from a character named Azure, who was Indigo's like best friend growing up, and it's her point of view, her childhood, how she found not just like friendship, but also safety and an escape in Indigo's world, Indigo's life, and in the magic from her own home growing up. And we also don't know why or how, but we do know that Azure and Indigo, while so close as children, have not seen each other since the girls graduated, and this separation has seemingly haunted Indigo ever since. There is now 2 instances of like missing people for both of our main characters, Indigo and the bridegroom, and everything kind of is around the Fae as well, like the Fae realm, and just like the spirit the author has been able to capture too about imagination of like growing up and how wondrous everything feels, like exploring nature and being dedicated to try to like figure out the secrets of the forest or whatever, but it bears fruit in this book. And everything is also wrapped up in this sort of timeless money element too, obviously because Indigo's family is so rich. Azure and the bridegroom come from no money, and it just seems like both of them in different points in time in attaching themselves to Indigo have found some sort of magical solace. It's interesting. The writing is really good. And I now have about 75 pages left, which really is not too bad at all. So I should be able to. I have about 100 pages left, so I feel like I'm definitely tracking to finish this book, but I'm really liking it. From the writing, the concept, just there's a lot of positive things to say about this book, and I'm definitely vibing with it. Hi guys, it's Reagan, and welcome to the end of the vlog. The next day, I'm happy to report I was able to read everything that I needed to read over the course of this 24-hour vlog, which I'm really happy about. All in all, I was able to read just under 800 pages, and I think for 24 hours, that is a really good page number, at least for me. So let's quickly run through everything I was able to read. Obviously, I finished The Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan. I loved this book even better than the first one. Just a fantastic fantasy world, such great character arcs, such great plot growth, truly in love with this. I can't wait for the third and final book within this trilogy. Obviously, I also started the Murderbot series by Martha Wells with All Systems Red. Murderbot is so endearing and they're so likable, and I loved getting introduced to them in this first book. I will for sure be checking out other novellas in this world and really looking forward to also getting to the full-length book later on. And lastly, I have The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshni Chokshi. I really like this too. Obviously, I've already spoken to like the stylization and the characters. I found it to be haunting and interesting. I loved the back and forth of the past and present. I loved that our main character, or the female lead, was kind of the dangerous, mysterious one. I just found it to be really, really enchanting, and definitely a style of book in general that I really enjoy. So clearly a pretty successful reading vlog in terms of quality. I really liked everything I was able to pick up. I hope you guys, again, I will have the Thrive Market offer down below if you guys are interested in checking that out, but I will see you soon with another video soon. Goodbye.